Hey, what's up you guys? Ryan Haury here with another poker video. This time I'm going to go over a hand history of a tournament that I played right before I left for Vegas. I did not live stream this tournament, I just kind of played it out of the whim, and I just wanted to get a little bit of last minute practice in before I flew out. Now for this hand history review, I'm only showing the hands that I voluntarily put money in, so I just got rid of all the hands that I pretty much just folded. Overall, I thought I played pretty well. I definitely misplayed a couple of hands here and there, but overall, I just got super duper lucky to run deep in this tournament. So I wanted to show you guys this, and yeah, let's get going. All right, first hand here, I'm in the big blind with 8-6 offsuit. Got a raise and a call from the button. I end up just calling from the big blind. I flop a pair here, I go check. The original raiser here bets, and there's a fold. And I probably should call here to see at least one more. I don't really have backdoor straight draws or flush draws, so I pretty much have to hit an 8 or 6. And I just ended up deciding to fold, which is not the worst either. But next hand, I have 9-10 in the small blind. Looks like it goes folds around. I call. You can raise 9-10 off sometimes, but I think calling from small blind is just fine. Check. I flop 2 pair here. I decide to check. He bets. I go for a check raise. He jams, and I call. So that happened really fast. He ended up having just a pair of 10s, so he kind of spazzed out money there. He probably just must have thought I was bluffing or something. That was a nice little double up right off the bat. Looks like I have queen 8 of clubs here in the cutoff position. There's a limper. I go for a 3x raise, which I probably should have went a little bit higher because there was a limper. Short stack goes all in, no big deal there. Now I flop, looks like a backdoor straight draws, flush draws, and a pair of queens here. It goes check, and I decide to check there since there's an all-in player, and I don't think I'm going to get much players to fold that flop either way because there's a lot of straight draws out there. So I turn 2 pair, goes check. I bet small. I have no idea why I bet so small. It's kind of a weird bet. Maybe because the player was all in. I just went to get some value out of it. Looks like he checks, and now I go for a giant bet, which is kind of weird, but looks like I was just trying to get a lot of value, go for a polarized bet, and he just folded. So I think I should have went for a little smaller bet to get value from a, like a 10 or a queen. So I think a big bet there was kind of a big mistake, but looks like I get to knock out that player though. Next hand, got 8-9 of clubs from the cutoff. I raise, get 3 bet from the button. And it looks like he only had less than 10 big blinds, so I think for that price I had to call. I flop a flush draw, hit my flush, and it looks like I beat his ace, so that was one of the hands I got lucky on. But wasn't too far behind pre-flop, so I think that's okay for that. He only had like 8 big blinds, so I think that's fine. Next hand, got 7-9 of diamonds from the button. There's a raise under the gun. I think I can get in 3-bet this hand sometimes, but against another gun raiser, I think it's just safer to call. I completely missed this board and pretty much just give up, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Queen, king from the cutoff. Obviously, you can see I play a lot of hands from the button, cutoff, and hijack, which I think most players are going to be playing, or from the blinds a lot. But you can definitely be more aggressive from these late positions. So king, queen suited, raise, got a caller on the button. I do flop backdoor straight and flush draws, and I have 2 overcards, but I am out of position against the button, so I think this hand might play better as a check raise, but I think it just go checks. Yeah, I check, and then he bets. I probably should have or could have check raised here, and I don't know if I have that great of equity to just be flatting. I mean, I have 2 overs. I think it's okay. But I completely brick here on the turn, and I think I just give up. So I think the chance was to kind of steal on the flop, and I didn't. But that's okay. 6-7 of spades from the small blind. There's just 2 limpers. I flat. big raise from the big blind. I probably just fold. Yep. Queens from the hijack. Looks like it goes raise. Got a call. Now he called from the small blind, and I don't expect this board to hit him too much. He's not going to have a lot of 7s, 6s. I mean, he can have pockets 7s and 6s and 10s here, but he's not going to have any 2 pairs, and maybe some straight draws. So I probably have range and nut advantage, so I could probably bet a little bit bigger here and try to get some value from some draws. But I bet about 3/4 pot. He called. Now the turn unfortunately brings, well, if you have an 8 here, you can have a straight. So I probably have pot bets fine, I think. But once he calls, I have to shut down because he can easily have straights and a 9 here as well if he called with like a 8 type of hand and turn the straight. So, or turn 3 9s, or river 3 9s, I should say. So he goes for like a small block bet here. I just call, and he has 5-4. So it looks like he's going for like a block bet bluff because he missed his up and down straight. I don't expect 5-4 to be calling out of the small blind there, so I did not expect to have him have that kind of hand. I thought he would have more of like a 10. But yeah, that's okay. I'll take that pot. That was a pretty good sized pot too. Ace 9 from the big blind, got a limper, a razor. I call. I completely missed this board. I am the big blind, so this should hit my range, so I could lead a type of board like this. But it's fine checking it too. He bets, and I just don't have any equity, so I fold. Pocket 8s here from, looks like pretty early position. Raise, get a couple callers. With that many callers and I'm going to be out of position, I'm probably going to slow down and pretty much give up unless I pick up a lot more equity. I don't have an 8 of hearts, so I don't really have a backdoor flush draw. I do have a backdoor straight, but that doesn't really mean much. So I kind of just checks around. That turn card is not really great for me, so it's probably not the best card to fire on. I think it's okay if I just kind of check. I mean, I do want to bet sometimes to protect my hand because obviously 8s aren't that great, and there's a lot of high cards and turns and rivers that can be bad. But I think betting here, since everyone checked on the flop, is okay. You got a caller, so I'm pretty much with the caller. I'm probably just going to give up, but I hit a magical 8 on the river, so I have that was the perfect card because I have 8s full of 9s. So I go for a larger size bet, hoping that somebody maybe hit their straight or flush because or get value from a jack. So I thought going bigger here was a better idea. And I get a raise, perfect scenario. So I decide to jam, he snap calls, and of course, like I said, magical river, he hits his nut flush, and I have a boat. So very nice double up there, and that put me up into one of the chip leading positions of the tournament. Ace jack here from under the gun, got a 3-bet from the small blind, jams, and looks like he had about 10 big blinds. Against someone that's behind me, I could probably just fold this hand, and I probably should have, because if I fold, he calls. I definitely don't want to get rejammed on, so I'm probably better off just folding this hand, especially he's 3-betting into me, who I'm under the gun, so I probably should have just folded this, but I think I just get lucky here and spike a jack if I remember, and I do. So probably a bad call there, but he had less than 10 bigs, so it's not the worst thing in the world. So yeah, he has ace king. I spike the jack and get lucky on him and take that pot. Next hand here, king jack off on the button. It looks like there's a raise, and I decided to just call here. I know you can 3-bet sometimes and call sometimes. I think that's fine from the button. Flop a gut shot, no heart though. Goes check, check. I decided to down bet here. I don't know why. I'm not the original raiser. I think I'm just trying to take it because the original raiser checked. I probably should have just checked behind, but it's okay to stab here a little bit, I guess. If anything, I should have went a lot larger if I'm just bluffing, but go for a small sizing. Got one caller, I check, and kind of just give up because I think I realized my mistake. And now I hit a queen on the river, so I kind of have showdown value because I have aces and queens with the king kicker. This guy checks, and I think I just give up. And he missed his flush draw, so I think I didn't play it the greatest, but hey, you know, I won, so that's all that matters, right? Let's see, we got ace queen off from, looks like the low jack here. Go for a raise, it folds around. Ace king from the big blind, got a raise. Somebody jams all in for less than 10 bigs. And the original raiser has about 20 bigs, so I'm pretty sure I just re-jam here and get a fold. And looks like I hit a straight and beat queen 10 offsuit. Got aces here from the cutoff. Got a raise. Got two callers in the big and small and big blind. This board doesn't really hit my range too much, so I probably should be either checking or betting large. But it looks like I do go large and get one fold and one call. Turns a queen that does hit my range. He checks. I think I jam here because he's really short. The pot's 14K and he only has 11 back, so I jam here. I think it's kind of a mistake because obviously the queen's good for my range and I'm just gonna fold a jack out. So I really need to either bet pretty small here. So that was a big mistake on my part, and I was right, he folds. So you need to go for value there, but I got greedy. Ace 8 suited under the gun, got a re-jam and a call, so I'm pretty sure I just muck this. And of course I would have flopped the flush, but that's all right. I made a correct fold as queens were in there. Pocket 8s from mid position looks like. Got a re-jam. I do call here. He had 20 bigs, and I believe 8s are a call for 20 bigs. And looks like I win a coin flip against ace king. So at this point, I think I'm like chip leader of the tournament. I got a pretty deep stack. I got 100 bigs, so very good start, like I said. 8-6 of diamonds, suited connectors, raise, get a caller on the button, flopping up and down straight draw. This board, my range and his range are running pretty closely here. We can both hit this board pretty strongly, or not so much, and just have a lot of straight draws and flush draws. Let's see what I do. I decided to check here. I think checking's okay because I think I'm just going to get called by so many different cards, different hands, I should say. Queen is good for my range. I probably should fire here. It looks like I go for a 3/4 or a small 1/3 size bet. Probably should go a little larger, about half pot or so. I get a caller and I get super lucky, and now I spike the nuts. So 10,000 in the pot, and I go for a tricky overbet. I think this is also a big mistake. As the flop was checked, I don't expect him to have many kings. He might have a queen here, but I think I need to go for more of a half pot value bet. And of course I scare him off and he goes away. A little too heavy on the overbets. Polarized sizing. Got pocket 10s under the gun, raise it up, get two callers. Interesting flop here. I have backdoor straight and flush draws and a decent pair, obviously, but I'm out of position. So I think this hand plays pretty darn good as a check raise, since I have a lot of backdoor equity and a pair. But I believe, yep, both players check. So that plan kind of failed. So I'm like, all right, well, they aren't too interested. So I'll just go for, looks like I go for 2/3 size bet size here. And they just fold. So I take that pot. 6-4 from the big blind. Got a limper, a raiser, a caller, and I call. 6-4 suit's pretty good, especially going multi-weighted flop, getting good odds. I pair my 6 here. No backdoor clubs. Do have a backdoor straight though. I'm gonna check range here. Original raiser, that's pretty small. Looks like a 3rd size pot bet. And because the small blind came along, small blind has a lot of aces in his range there. And I decided to just get out of the way without any backdoor flush draw possibilities. So just gave up there. 6-5 suited on the button. I just open jam because the last two players on my left had less than 20 bigs. And I think that hand's fine to jam there. 7-6 suited from the big blind, got a razor, and I call. I flop pair of sixes again and a backdoor flush draw. This could be a check raise. I think check calling's probably fine too. It goes check, check instead. I probably should have led on this turn because it's really good for my big blind range, because I can hit all those straights and, you know, have a lot of 2 pair or 4 or something like that, but I ended up checking. And I probably should have check raised even on top of that. But I do have showdown values, so I think it's fine to just check call. And considering he checked the flop, I don't expect him to have many jacks in his range. This goes check, check, and he misses his ace king, and I take it down with a 6. So I think it's okay the way I played that. 8-9 suited, raise, pair my 9 and have some good backdoor stuff going on. Check, I bet third, and he folds. I think that's fine. Razor, I have pocket 3s on the big blind, and he started the hand with 11 big blinds, so I just went for an open jam. He called. Looks like I got lucky and spiked a 3, and I did get lucky. He it was a coin flip either way, ace king versus 3s. He spiked his ace, and then I hit my 3. So yeah, that was a nice hand. Ace 8 from the small blind. Again, he had 14 big blinds in the big blind. I'm sorry, 14 bigs in the big blind. 14 big blinds in the big blind. So I just open ripped it with ace 8 offsuit, which I think is fine. I mean, I could have limped, jammed, or done any other tricky stuff, but open jamming's fine there too. Pocket 7s from early position here. Looks like a raise and take. 7-9 offsuit, got a raise from the small blind, but he just min raises, which is kind of annoying. It's a little too small sizing. You really need to go about 3.5x in order to get the big blind to fold because he's just priced in. Flop an up and down straight draw. He checks. I go for a small bet. I think that's fine. He calls. Deuce, check. Looks like I'm going for it here. I go for a larger 2/3 sizing on the turn, and he folds. So I think that's fine. I don't expect that deuce to hit him. Pretty sure he only has maybe a king there. I don't expect him to have many 8s, 6s, or deuces. So I think I can easily take that there, and I did. King 9 offsuit here. I just do pretty much the same thing. He only had 10 big blinds, so I just jammed King 9 off, and he folds. King Jack off. Looks like there's a razor, and from the cutoff, and I decided just flat from the button here with King Jack off. Again, I could have 3-bet it, but it's okay to call too from the button. Big blind comes along. I miss completely. Santa's Workshop here, who was the big blind, bets about half pot, a little bit less than half it looks like. This player to my right calls. Now, all I have is a jack here. I don't have a diamond. The big blind can easily have a 3 in his hand. With the cutoff calling, it was probably a good idea to just fold here. I do beat a lot of jacks, so I don't mind a call. But with multi-way, it's not going to be the best hand a lot of times because cutoff can have ace jack a lot of times. I river a king here, and the big blind bets again. And the fact that he got called by 2 players on the turn should have signified to me that he pretty much obviously has a 3 or better, or a flush even. And with the cutoff calling here, I need to fold this hand. There's no way my king jack is good here. I just, was like, oh, I got 2 pair. It's got to be pretty good. But what am I really beating here? I'm not beating a flush. I'm not beating a full house. I'm not beating, a set. or trips here. So I pretty much just need to get out of the way. I'm definitely not going to beat one player or two players. If I was up against one player, I think I can call here pretty easily. But against two players, especially with the big blind, I just need to fold here. So this is a big mistake, I think. And go figure, big blind had a pocket sixes. So he had flopped a full house. So very bad call on my hit. I did have king 10 beat, which was nice. But yeah, that doesn't help. Ace queen from the cutoff. I 3-bet the hijacks raise. Looks like it goes folds around. Ace queen again, early position. I raise, folds around. Queens from the cutoff, folds around. 5 king from the big blind, under the gun raises. And I call. I miss completely and probably just give up. Yes, I do. Ace 10 off from the small blind. Looks like the button jams all in here. He had about 6 big blinds, so not much. I call. I could have min raised just to isolate, but I'm not too worried because I'm only up against the big blinds, so just calling here is fine. Plus my hand's not that great. I spike trip aces and I beat queens. So got pretty lucky there too. King, queen. Looks like there's a raise. I go for a 3-bet with king, queen offsuit. I'm not like a huge fan of this because the original raiser is under the gun and only has 14 bigs in a starting stack. So probably not the greatest idea because he's probably, if he rejams, I have to fold or have to call, I should say. I'm priced in to call at that point because now it's only double and I'm getting good pot odds. So I needed to just flat there and not the best play. And I think I just get lucky here on the river here. I spike a queen and there's a coin flip versus his jacks there, but just not the best 3-bet, and I got lucky. Ace 4 off. I decide to limp here. I know Santa's Workshop here in the big blind is a really solid player, so maybe I was trying to get tricky or something on him. I probably should have just played it safe and raised, but limping here is totally fine too. Have a backdoor nut flush draw. I probably could have led, but checking is okay too because I do have showdown value. There's 3 queens on the board, so again I have showdown value. Now it looks like I do the overbet thing again on the river. Again, it's just not a great play. You're not getting value from anything, and I'm really just chopping if he does happen to have an ace. So probably not a great play, but I probably could have just checked. Not that much value getting out of this hand either way. It's not that big a deal. King, queen offsuit from the button, under the gun here, which actually we're just 5-handed, so that's really the hijack raising. Again, I probably could have 3-bet this. It looks like he had 40 bigs, so I probably could have 3-bet. Looks like I go for a flat this time. Again, on the button, not that big of a deal. You can do that. Flop, completely miss it, but he should be missing this board too. Neither of us really have an advantage here whatsoever. I decided to just call here. I probably should have just folded. I'm pretty sure I'm just thinking I have 2 overs and I don't think he hits this board. But since we could easily share the same cards, I don't really have clean outs. So if I hit a queen or a king, I'm not really confident either because he could easily have ace queen or ace king and have me completely dominated. So it's probably best to just fold and go up here. But because I'm crazy, he checks and I just go for it. I don't know why I bet so small here. Looks like quarter, third pot, but I get lucky and he goes away. So I think I needed to bet big there. Floating the flop there is okay, but you know, it happens to work out in my favor there. Got a raise from the button. I have 3 deuce suited in the big blind. I call, completely miss the board, check. That king is not great for my range either. I'm pretty sure I just give up on this. And I just check it down and give up. And he had a pair of 7s, so Don't think I would have won that either way. Queen 9 from the small blind. I raise this time. Santa from the big blind here. 3 bets and jams, and I obviously fold. Ace 10 suited from the big. Standard raise. The big blind calls. And I flop a pretty good flop. That hits my range pretty good, so I have a range advantage and nut advantage. So I could probably bet pretty big here. Plus, if he has a lot of straight draw stuff, he's going to call anyways. But so backdoor or a gut shot and backdoor nut flush draw and 1 over. So it looks like I go for about a pot or half pot sizing, which I think is okay. He calls. Queen turns. Looks like I go for a really big sizing here because that queen's really good again for my range. I have a lot of queens in my hand. So does he, but I kind of just go for it, and he just happened to not have a queen. So if he had a queen or a jack there, you know, maybe I get him to fold out a jack. So maybe that kind of semi bluff worked to my favor. 10-8 offsuit. I end up just limping. I flop 10 there. I probably could have led there because I do have a lot of jacks and 10s there, but it goes check, check. I have 10 jacks full of 10s now. Go for half pot, and he just folds. Now this is the final table. Looks like, and I have ace 3 of diamonds. I do have the chip lead at the final table here. Looks like I have about double the second stack, so I have a very decent stack here. But I do still try to play my standard ranges and not go too crazy. But ace 3 of diamonds from the hijack here, go for a raise and folds around. Ace jack from the low jack, raise, get a call and a call from the blinds. I flop a gut shot, goes check, check. And now this board does hit the small blinds range because they do have a lot of kings and 10s in their hand. Doesn't hit the big blind too much. Let's see what I do here. I think I ended up just checking. I have a gut shot, and I mean, I could probably go for a bet, but against 2 players, I think it's fine just to check it here. I do turn an ace, but this is a very dirty ace because it completes a flush and a straight. So it's not that great of an ace. Goes check, check. I go for a half size pot bet here, which I think is fine considering it went check, check. Went call from the small blind and fold. And even before that spade hit the turn, I was gonna just check it down because, like I said, a lot of straights and flushes out there. But obviously once it goes 4 flush, I'm just done with this hand completely. He goes for a bet and I fold. We got pocket 4s here from the low jack. Go for a raise, get a call from the big blind. Pretty wet board here. I think it's okay to check this a lot of time because I'm just gonna get called way too often. 10 is a turn. Big blind fires into me and I just give up. Jack 10 suited from the button. I go for a raise, get some folds. Good old pocket aces under the gun here. Go for a raise, get a call from the cutoff. Jack 10, I do expect to hit that to hit the cutoff's range. They're gonna have a lot of 2 pairs, 10s, and they might have some jacks. They don't always 3-bet jacks, but I don't expect them to have jacks too often here. But looks like I go for a quarter or third size pot bet. I get a call. I go for roughly half pot, a little bit more than half pot. I get a raise. Now, he does jam all in. He started the hand with 20 big blinds. It's only 25,000 to call to win 100,000, so I'm getting 4 or 5 to 1. So I'm pretty sure I just have to call no matter what here. But I'm not feeling too good about it because I do feel like I'm up against either set of 10s or jacks and 10s. But for that pot size and that ratio, I pretty much just have to call. And he had flopped a set of deuces, so I didn't exactly expect deuces in his range there too, but you know, I can't count for everything, but unfortunately just got my aces cracked there. Ace 9 from the big blind, got raise, and call. I miss this board completely and just give up. Ace Jack from the button, everyone folds. King 10 from the cutoff, and get a call from the big blind. Deuce 7-9, that does hit the big blind a lot, and it's not gonna hit me too often, but I do go for like a third size bet pot. I think I could bomb this pot and do like a pot size bet since that doesn't hit my range all that often, but that's okay. Do get a call from the big blind. The turn is not great for me either. That completes straights, 2 pairs. He checks. I think I just give up here. Get lucky on hit the king on the river. He checks, and it's about a 2/3 size bet, which is, I think, is okay. I think I probably could size it down because obviously that king really hits my range. So I probably should have sized it down to like third size bet or half just to get value from a 7 or a 9. And he folds instead, so that's all right. Ace king from low jack here. Get a caller. Miss the board completely. It's kind of not a very dynamic board here. Not a lot of river card or a lot of turn cards are going to change the board too much. But I check because I'm out of position. I check because I have some showdown value with a pair of deuces out there and ace high. He bets half pot. I call. Hit a king again. Get lucky. This time I check, which I think is a mistake. This king hits me a lot because I know he can easily put me on ace king. I think I just need to bet here. I don't know too much what I'm getting value from because the flop was checked. So I don't necessarily think he has a queen, but I probably should throw a little value bet here. Maybe he has some type of pocket pair. Fortunately goes check, check, and he did have a pair of 9s. So I definitely should have bet that king. That king was really bad for his range. So I definitely needed a bet there and missed out on some value. 4-6 suited from the button. Looks like big blind 3 bets. I fold. King, queen off. I raise, gets folds. King, jack off. This is under the gun, but looks like we're only like 7-handed. So this would be raising from like early mid position or whatever. Not a big fan of raising king jack off from these early positions, but yeah, I was feeling pretty confident. I still had the chip lead. This was on the looser side, I admit, so probably shouldn't have done that, but got away with it and everyone just folded. Ace king suited. Raise, get a call from the big blind, spike the king. I bet about third pot and get a fold. Ace 10 suited. Raised from the low jack, get a call from the cutoff. Get a re-raise from the small blind. Let's see what I do. I do fold. I think the reason I fold here is just because there's a player behind me and I would be out of position against him the rest of the hand. I'm not feeling too confident. Ace 10 of clubs is not that great of hand. I probably could have called, but I'm fine with the fold here too. It's not that bad. Pocket 9s under the gun here, folds around. Jack 8 off. I just opened jam because he only had about 14 big blinds. Jack 8 is pretty much bottom of the range you want to be jamming here, but I get away with it. Pocket 6s, raise, get folds around. Pocket 8s, raise, get a call from the big blind. That board is great for my range, and so I have the range advantage and the nut advantage, so I should be doing a pretty large sizing here, and I do. I'd go with like a 3/4 size pot bet, looks like, and get a fold. Ace 8 suited, get a raise from the hijack here. I call, flop a pretty good hand. I check range here. The original raiser checks as well. I turn, a king is turned, which is not great for my range, just better for the player that original raised from the hijack. So I check and he bets, and it's about half pot, and I do still have some equity here, so I do call. He doesn't have to have a king all the time there, of course. I check and he checks behind, and it looks like he just has sixes, so I pick it up there. King, queen offsuit from the hijack, raise, and it looks like I get 3-bet here. I think you can fold this or call this sometime, especially if you're gonna be out of position. It might be just best to fold, but I'm stubborn and I call. Flop a king. Do not have a spade, unfortunately. I check. He bets pretty small here. I do decide to just call. I check and he bets again, roughly third size pot bet. So I think I just call here as well and check, and he finally checks and gives up. And he had ace 10, so he flopped a flush draw and a gut shot and just missed. So that was a nice little pot. Ace 6 of clubs, raise, and get a 3-bet jam, and he had 12 big blinds, so this is a call here for 12 bigs. And looks like I spiked an ace and win. Got super lucky there because he had a pocket sixes and I had a 6 in my hand, so clearly I was only drawing the 3 aces and got lucky. King 10 off, I call, raise from the cutoff there. I have some backdoor stuff, but it's okay if I just check. I probably should lead this turn because it's good for the big blind range since he checked the flop, and it looks like I do. And he calls, and I think I just give up here. I probably should have fired again. I have a feeling. I think I just chickened out. He bet and I folded. So kind of a mistake there, but that's okay. Pocket eights, raise from the hijack. Get a call from the big blind. Another board that's not good for my range, so I probably should go for a big polarized bet here. And he only had 8 big blinds left anyway, so I jam. He calls, and looks like he had nothing. For some reason, he called on the flop. I don't know what his thought process was, but held up. So win with pocket eights. Ace king from the cutoff, raise, get a call from the big blind. Jack 7. Looks like it goes check bet. I bet third pot, which I think is okay. I could probably go bigger there too, but it gets a fold either way. 9-8 suited from the hijack, raise, folds around. I got pocket 10s from the small blind here. I go for a call here. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was just trying to get tricky because the player to my left, I played with him a lot. He's a very solid player. And I kind of was hoping he would pounce on my weak limp there and raise on me. But he only had 18 bigs, so I was kind of hoping he would just open jam it. But I think 10s just need way too much protection. I don't want him just to check, get a free look at the flop with like a king or something and spike it. I'd be pretty disappointed. So I think I just need to open rip this or go for a raise and just let him re-raise and jam or fold. But it goes check. I bet he calls. Deuce on the turn. I bet looks like a little bit half pot. And he just folds. So I kind of dodged a bullet with him not spiking that jack there. So little mistake there and got away with it. 9s from the cutoff. I raise and got a player to re-jam. I call. And looks like he had pocket 8s. So I win that pot. I was a little surprised that he jammed there because if you look, we're down to 4 players in ICM. Every position kind of matters when you're in the money this deep. And we had a pretty short stack here with 17 big blinds. Well, it's not that short of a stack, but still short enough where usually you want to play more conservatively. So I'm surprised this player didn't just check behind, but calling's there or jamming's there is fine too. 30 bigs with pocket 8s is a pretty good jam. So got pocket aces here, and this was the big turning point of the to end this tournament here. This was a big winner go home kind of hand. So I raised with pocket aces on the button. and get a call from the small blind. I'm sorry, the big blind. Flop is ace, queen, 10. I flop the set of aces. Big blind checks, and I bet about, looks about half pot, which is probably fine for, I have the range advantage and nut advantage against the big blind's range. Looks like he goes for a check raise here. Now, he's got 50 big blinds. I have 100 big blinds. We're both really deep. My thinking here is, obviously I have options. I'm not gonna fold here. I have the second nuts. I could just jam all in. My thinking is if he does have like a 2-pair type of hand like queen 10, if I do just flat here and the turn is a very scary card like a king of clubs, I'm not gonna get any more value out of the hand. The hand's just gonna be dead pretty much, and it's just gonna be checked down because, straight and flushes on the board. So that was kind of my thought process. And obviously I don't think I'm up against the nuts all the time. If you're playing range versus range, he's not always gonna have king jack here. But I decided to jam, he calls, and of course he does have indeed king jack the nuts. Is what it is, kind of rough. I don't think that hand really matters how I play it, kind of plays itself really. It's a nuts versus a second nuts. If I pair the board there, I win. I had plenty of outs, but unfortunately I missed. And that just changed the chip lead over. So that knocked me down to 50 big blinds and giving him the big stack of 100 big blinds. Got pocket fives here from the small blind. The button raises, and I go for a 3-bet here, and he folds. I definitely don't want to play pocket fives out of position, so I think that's just good to kind of end that hand right there and there. Tens from the button here, go for a raise, get a re-raise, and another re-raise, so I get out of the way. And looks like it was all in, and looks like ace 10 versus ace king, and ace king held up, and that was it. That after that hand, we knocked that player out, and we decided to do a ICM chop. Usually I like to play it out, but this guy is a friend of mine, and I decided to be nice, and I'm just kidding. No, he's a really solid player, and obviously I was pretty short stacked, and I was fine with just taking an ICM chop there. So yeah, I ended up chopping and for first place there, and I was pretty proud of my play. Obviously, I misplayed a lot, but got bailed out by a lot of luck. Felt really good to win one of those tournaments, or at least chop. That was the first time I did a chop at playing on PokerStars, so did pretty well. And yeah, thanks for watching this hand history here. If you guys want to see more, let me know. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I'll talk to you guys soon.